Hello, everybody! Feels like it's been a minute since I have recorded a video for y'all. If it isn't obvious, I am back here at home in Dirty Jersey. That's my little personal nickname, and well, just a very frequent nickname for my state. I mean, I even used to have a shirt that said it. But yeah, I got mixed feelings about being home, because, positive side, who doesn't like to go home? It's where your family is, it's where your friends are, it's where you know where everything is, where all your stuff is, where you feel comfortable. On the negative side, well, it's freaking New Jersey. What do you expect? If you've ever been here, it's nothing special. But anyway, it does feel good to be home, back where I'm in my natural element, where I can be in my natural element without feeling weird all over again about it. One thing I do love about being around here is most people tend to not judge. I mean, I will go out in public and I'll be dressed similar to now. I mean, right now I'm barely wearing any form of makeup, like no eye makeup or none. I got really lazy with it today. Um, I'll be wearing girly clothes and whatnot, being obviously a guy and everything biologically. And not too many people give me harsh looks or anything like that, like where you would experience in some other areas. People are pretty open minded. Um, I'm not gonna say that I haven't gotten harsh looks or had people roll their eyes at me, but at the end of the day, believe me, I have been through so much worse. That's the funny thing. People spend their whole lives trying to fit in, but in reality, some of us really never fit in the first place because we're being fake about it anyway. I went through all of these styles through the years and all of these different tones of voice and demeanors to me and everything. And realistically, it didn't do nothing for me. No matter how much respect I got from people, as far as at least them acting like they respected me. It was more just, it was fake, even that. Usually people respected me just because I did something really messed up, or something like that. If I did something really crazy, or if I won some really hard fight to win, or things like that. That's more respect in somebody because you just you respect them based on just a singular action rather than who they really are, or you respect them more out of fear instead of who they really are, one or the other. You base it on how much they entertain you or how much you fear them or something like that, and none of it has to do with their base personality. But I wanted to let y'all know how everything went. I've definitely been asked by quite a few people, and I figure making a video always makes it easy for me to tell everybody all at once exactly what the fuck is going on in my life. So I don't have to, message all of y'all one by one, comment y'all one by one, call y'all one by one. I mean, God, I love social media. Wish I had this as a kid because growing up as an only child in the middle of the nowhere part of town with no friends and stuff like that, it was uh, what I would have done to have you know, the internet really be a thing back when I was in elementary school and whatnot. But back then, I think I didn't even have my first computer till I was 10. And this is back in 1999, 2000, something like that. And, well, I was 11 then, actually. But, yeah, and it was one of them computers where, well, if you were around back then, you know how, just a web page or a video would take freaking several minutes just to process and whatnot. Sorry. Yeah, I'd be like trying to look up like wrestling news or something because I've always been a big wrestling fan. And it'd take forever to freaking load the results from last night's Raw is War or whatever, you know? That's what it was called back then. WWF Raw is War instead of WWE Raw. And it would be like, it would literally take 5 minutes just to download the results. Not like a video result, like reading the results and a couple of pictures. Yeah. Kids today just don't know the struggle. Like, I love the fact that you could just do so much without ever having to leave your house. You really can. You can work a whole job, have a whole life without ever leaving your room. I mean, that's just so easily done in this day and age if you know what you're doing. God, kind of congested. What else is new, right? But anyway, so my vacation, it was basically, at least for me, it was honestly like the vacation from hell. And I will tell y'all why. First, I mean, like, it was honestly beautiful to be down there in Florida and everything, in Orlando, Florida. And for me, I never actually got to really leave the hotel at all because my mom had never paid for me to come along to like Disney, Universal Studios, and all that with her and the boys. She basically just wanted me to come to watch the boys and make sure they didn't behave. I mean, didn't misbehave, whatever, you know. And um, so it was pretty boring. It wasn't much different than home. It was just me alone in a room all day for most of the day, and um, like, I mean, I went down to the pool a couple of times, but I'm not that big on pools. Half the days it was all cloudy and rainy. Um, I went through some personal drama from back here that like I said, I can't discuss everything in my personal life out of respect for other people. Because when I give somebody my word on something, I do everything in my power to stick to it, even though I try to share everything good, bad, and in between. So, it makes people aware of issues that people like me would face in life. Like, because I know I'm not the only one. I have my own story, but I'm not the only one facing these type of problems. I'm just probably the only one with my specific background and my specific location and my specific name and my specific genetic code, and you get the point. We're all individuals. But in general, I'm not the only one facing these problems. So that's why I don't mind putting myself on blast. And believe me, if you know about my past and everything, you would know that I have definitely been put on blast by people for worse things than being trans. That's why I don't mind going out there and dressing up, even though I'm obviously not gonna pass at this point in my life. I do this for me. And it's weird because even people that like accept me, they still feel the need to criticize. Like, they'll be like, oh, you're not doing this right. You're not doing that right. I didn't know there was a book on how to properly be trans. Like, if anybody knows how I am, I've always had my own little sense of style, and I've always had my own way of doing things, and that's just me. I didn't grow up with people guiding me through too much. I guided myself through a lot of things. I'm self taught on a lot of things. And I mean, I'm finding my new way of life and I'm letting myself do it on my own. I'm sure I'll get to the day where I'm a pro at this just as much as I'm a pro at doing other things that I've been doing for several years. But I'm still trying to find myself. I'm still not sure like which styles I like the most, which makeup I like the most, which colors I like the most, Just that's just me. I'm still trying to find myself and that explains that. But yeah, it just feels like people like to nitpick at things and it's the most annoying crap in the world. Like, let me tell you. Drives me crazy. So yeah, I went through that. I went through a couple of days of that personal drama that came all the way from New Jersey and followed my ass all the way to Florida and didn't give me any peace of mind the whole time I was there. Because this drama was about some serious stuff that, I'm going to have to face in the future, and it's going to be very painful for me to do, but I'm going to still deal with it and do everything that I'm promised that I would do to handle the situation and have it go as peacefully as possible. It's just, it's gonna be hard. Like, it's very hard. It was very hard for me not to, like, let my emotions overwhelm me and have certain outbursts and stuff because I'm upset underneath it all. But when I give my word on something, I keep it to the best of my ability, and you know I'm just trying to do what's best for everyone else instead of worrying about what I want personally. Like, I've been through so much, and like, to where I definitely always put everyone else's needs before my own. Like, as far as what happens to me personally, I could give a fuck less. I mean, call me a mental case for it, but I've been mentally and physically broken more times than I could count. And there really isn't much that you could put me through that would phase me to the point of breaking me. Like, now there's something that you could put someone I love through that will break me, you know. But that's a different story because, like, I love those close to me more than I love myself, and it's been that way for a long time. I'm just starting to learn to love myself by living the lifestyle that I've been living. So I had that weighing on me through my entire freaking vacation. Personal drama all the way from home. Um, and I will say I was so proud of my boys, especially my older son, being there for me, knowing that I was upset about these things. Not knowing every little detail of what happened, of course, but he knew the basics. He's very, very smart for his age as far as, like, this kid, he overhears everything. I try and keep things from him, but there is no keeping crap from him. Even when he pretends to be asleep sometimes, he'll suddenly out of nowhere just be like, I hope you know I heard all that. Just crazy little guy. And he was just such an honest to God, like, you know, he was my rock through this situation. Like, just kept giving me hugs left and right, knowing that I was hurting. And even though I was holding it in like a champ, I guess he somehow saw the pain behind my eyes or something. But he, I could tell that he knew what was up, and he knew that it was eating at me. And this little kid, when most kids his age, keep in mind he's about to be 9 in like 2 months, but he's still 8. And most kids that age going to Disney World, Orlando, or I mean, like Universal, whatever, um, that's all they'd be worried about. They would not be worried about, is my mommy or my daddy okay? They would not be worrying about what their parents are going through, even if it was like something like life threatening. Most kids at that age would only be worried about, oh my god, I'm at Disney World. Oh my god, I'm at Universal. Because, I mean, I went to Orlando, Florida, Universal, Disney World, all that. At his exact age, I was 8 years old. And that's the last time I'd been to Florida before this. Crazy. But, yeah, so I mean, I'm so beyond proud of the young man that both of my sons, especially him, are grown up to be. I'm still to see how Lucas, my younger one, will be at his age, if he'll be quite as mature or not. But the level of maturity that my older son had shown me in just them simple acts was just, I couldn't be any more prouder as a parent. it's actually kind of like, once again, I'm getting emotional a little bit here. Because the greatest gift a parent can have is seeing the reward of all them years of love and commitment and like patience that you show your child pay off in the way that little guy has shown me. Between just between accepting me for all this in general, and I'm sure that many of you have seen the videos. Like, just for record, I wasn't using him as some kind of prop, as like some kind of, way to look good or something. He actually wanted to make that video. I didn't tell him or coach him into saying a damn thing. The looks he would give me in that video, you could tell that boy meant it with all of his soul. And I knew that neither one of them would ever abandon me, because they know I'd never do it to them. But that was a whole nother level of mature for someone that age, 8 years old. Most adults don't show that level of maturity when they initially find something out. And I feel so blessed that I'm literally like, I've been there for these two boys more than any of my like kids in my entire life, you know, because like I had daughters and everything too, but the boys I've always been there for. I mean, me and their mother had just recently broke up in January 2021, so that's like a year and some change. And since then, I've still had them 50% of the time because I don't think they would want it any other way. Like, it would take God Himself coming down and forcing them to not want to be around me. Oh, I'd be surprised if that would even work. And I'm not trying to sound overly confident. If anything, I'm actually proud. You know, there's nothing that's a better feeling than when you know that all your years of love and commitment to your kids, when you see it paying off. Because I know that this isn't something that's just going to be good for me. It's going to make them good people in general. That I taught them so early in life to, to love everybody for what's in here, not what's all out here, you know? And I couldn't be any more lucky. Like, I love them kids to the moon and back. I mean, and as I've also mentioned in the past, my biological daughter in West Virginia, who I just only knew about, like, started to really get to know a couple of years ago, because, like, I really didn't know anything about her until, like, December 2019, I believe it was, or December 2020. So it's more recent that, like, basically her mother contacted me and said a bunch of stuff and gave me the opportunity to either be in her life as, like, like a friend type of figure because she's already been adopted and everything, or just to continue to not even, like, basically act like I'd never heard a thing from her. And, like, the type of person I am, I don't think I would have been able to live with myself having said no. Like, sure, yeah, that's less responsibility, but now that I know for sure I have this kid out there somewhere that I could or couldn't be in a life of, it was my choice. I don't think there was anything in me that would have let me said no. And But at the same time, just because she's accepting, like, I halfway like can't blame myself for raising her up, you know? Like, so I feel like I can't really take credit for her being accepting. That's her mother and adopted father who taught her to be so accepting. The boys, though, I raised them from day one up into present day. They act so much like me. And yeah, I mean, that's why I take full credit with them. And I'm sure you all see what I'm getting at here. Like, it's hard to take credit for something that you really didn't do yourself, but when you did do everything yourself, it's a very touching feeling. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm extremely touched, and I've mentioned in the past how extremely proud I am of the fact that she's so accepting. But at the same time, I have to say I'm proud of her mother and adopted father for teaching her to be that way, you know. So there's a little bit of a difference there. You know, when you have to pass the credit on to somebody else, it doesn't quite hit you on the heartstrings to the same extent because you didn't put that full work in. You know, you didn't put all those years of work in. Of course, don't get me wrong. I'm making every attempt to get to be a part of her life, get to know her, get to, you know, all of, get to like bond with her and whatnot. Like we talk on the phone often. But like I've also mentioned, when you live over 200 miles away from someone, it's not always easy to be that close. Hold on. Cigarette time. Mm. I like her hair. I was like, I'll wash the hair. I didn't want to singe anything off because it won't grow back. Yeah, it's like I just wear this kind of for my own personal sense of like not feeling insecure because like when I was younger, I used to have hair that was nicer and shinier than this. And now it's like thinning out and not shiny at all. Hopefully, like they say that after you're on HRT for a while, like your hair starts to like fill back in and whatnot. But mm, don't know if I'll get that lucky. I might have waited just a little bit too long there. Oh, I'll get to some changes that are already happening actually. Because, like, that reminded me. Because I've been on HRT since March 15th. And yeah, just recently, like, I've been starting to feel a little bit sore, like, around my, like, nipple area and whatnot. And, like, I've noticed that, like, when I was down south, I noticed that when I was wearing my hoodie, like, I could basically see my nipples through my friggin' hoodie and my shirt and everything. I was like, that's new. Trust me, I've spent a lot of time in mirrors over the years, and that was definitely new for me. So, I guess effects are starting to already show up. I don't know. But anyway, on with my vacation, because I tend to bounce from subject to subject, and I apologize for that. Then my mom proceeds to lose her credit card, the only one she brought with her. We went like a whole day without having anything to like um what's it called like really eat. We just had snacks that were left over. Like what little bit we did have, we gave most of to the kids. And it took her close to 48 hours to get that whole thing fixed. Like it just felt like for me anything that could go wrong did go wrong. Fortunately, the boys did have a good time. That was all that really mattered. Oh yeah, things went wrong for me even on the plane ride back. I was stuck with the huge bag on the floor and my 6'1" ass with my legs are like up to here on me and everything. And I had to sit right between my two sons who were acting up a whole 2 hour plane ride back. And talk about being caught between a rock and a hard place. Whoa. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely the vacation from hell compared to any other vacation I've been on in my life. But it was still nice to get like outside of the usual everyday same crap, you know. It it's been years since I've really left the state, like unless you count going right across the bridge to Philadelphia, which is technically Pennsylvania, but if you're from around here, you know that Philadelphia is basically just an extension of South Jersey. It's nothing different. Nothing. It's actually worse in some ways. You go to a neighborhood like Kensington or something like that. Yeah. Mm-mm. Like honestly, I probably wouldn't even go around there dressed like this. It would just be dangerous. It's the only time that I don't really dress up like this in public in areas where I'm familiar with, because I'm familiar with them areas and I know that it's the wrong part of town to do that crap, and either someone's going to be really ignorant or someone will flat out try and hurt you or kill you or something along them lines. I mean, even regular people get hurt, killed, and stuff like that on the regular basis in them kind of areas. Like, no exaggeration, places like Kensington, Philadelphia, um, I've been around there like a lot back in my drug using days and whatnot. And people in broad daylight would stand on the side of a main road, right where the cars could see them, tying their thing, shooting up. Like, can you imagine just driving down the street seeing someone doing that? Like, people look like walking zombies around there. There would be people like that were homeless, and like whole groups of homeless people would be gathered around a block, like in tents or boxes or whatever else they could make for a makeshift home. Very rough area. One of the roughest areas I've ever been to. Like, you ever come around here, stay away from areas like freaking Camden, Philadelphia. You're not missing much. Just, you're better off. Just, nope. Um, but yeah, so it's been years since I've traveled, and it was nice to see palm trees, to see land that isn't completely flat. Um, it was just beautiful out there. I'm like the type of person, I always appreciate good scenery. I always appreciate to see different cultures. Like it's really cool when you see different places that have different prices on stuff and different brand name stores. Like for example, up here, or you know, our regular stores are like ShopRite, Wawa, places like that. But some places have never even heard of those kind of brand name stores. I was actually surprised that there was a Wawa down there. And supposedly they'd only started doing that a few years ago because, like 10 years ago when I lived in Virginia, West Virginia, they weren't even that far. Like Wawa started out in the New Jersey, Pennsylvania area. Um, so all in all, I mean, it was still nice to have gone, you know. I'm glad that I didn't pay for the trip because I would have felt like I was ripped off. But considering I didn't pay for it and that it wasn't really for me in the first place, it wasn't bad. It's just, it seemed that a lot of bad things happened in a short period of time to mess it up for me. Could have been better. It was nice to sit in the pool and the hot tub, you know, outside and whatnot. Especially this time of year when it's cold still, and normally I wouldn't be able to swim and stuff outside. Um, yeah, there is a lot good to it. I try and look at the positive sides of things. Could have been worse by a long shot, but Could have been better for sure. I am truly glad to be back here talking to all of y'all. I'm glad to be back to where I could feel comfortable just dressing up again. Not having. Because, like, also, I was around my son Lucas all the time, and like I've said in the past, I don't want to confuse him with my lifestyle. Like, he don't really understand the concept yet, so I try to not wear anything straight up girly around him. I wear unisex type of stuff, you know, and so I had to limit myself the whole time I was there, even in the hotel. Like, well, not that I left the hotel, but still had to keep, a lid on everything that whole time. And it felt like being in the closet all over again. And it started to just depress me after so many days because I'm just thinking of like all the sacrifices I've made already just having come out. And I'm just like, oh my god, it feels like it was all for nothing kind of thing. Well, I still kind of get that vibe once in a while, even here. I'm not gonna lie. I think I've even mentioned that one of my biggest fears is that I won't be able to completely transition for one reason or another, and I'll be stuck in between. And I'll feel like every sacrifice I've had to make was for nothing. Not that I've had to make that many sacrifices, but still, even losing one person is a big deal to me. It really just is. That's basically all that really happened. Like as far as anybody close to me, I lost like one person, but um, it's still a big deal because especially when that one person's like someone in my direct family and someone I've been close to for many years, type thing. So if I'm making sacrifices like that, I want there to at least be a long term payoff. And like I don't strive to look that great, I know that I'm never gonna be in my prime exactly ever again either way, but I at least want to feel comfortable in my own skin. And that's another thing that like a lot of people just don't get, like all them people out there, they'll be like, oh, you're not ever gonna really be a female or things like that. You always have been born a guy, you always have had a, you know and everything. Well, don't take a genius to know that, but it's not about being the real thing. It's about at least being able to live the lifestyle like you're the real thing. Because it's about how you're just wired. Like me, I've never been the type to be into very manly activities, like never, like outside of doing like MMA, UFC style type shit. I never um did anything very manly. Like I never got into working on cars or you know, like playing sports and stuff. Like actually I hate doing them kind of things. It's like those subjects just always went over the top of my head. Even though there's plenty of other things that I know plenty about that people that do know how to do them things great probably wouldn't know a damn thing about, but them things that are stereotypically manly have just never been up my alley as much as things that are stereotypically a thing that a female would be into. That's just me though. Like, I just want to be able to look in the mirror, love the way I look, like, and wear the type of stuff I love to wear, not see a giant bulge in my pants, things like that. It's like I never actually really. It's a strange feeling when a person out there has to say, like, I want my thing to be small, kind of thing. Like, so many people out there are trying to make it look extra big, and I'm here, like, trying to do the opposite, but because it's like I want to be able to wear stuff that I want to wear and look good in because I do have a good figure and whatnot. I'm obviously skinny as a freaking rail. And meanwhile, I can't wear like, say like a bikini or something like that because there would be this giant bulge there that, trust me, is not easy to just tuck away. Um, and yeah, it's about things like that more than what anybody else thinks of me. Because frankly, I really don't care. People have all kinds of crazy, varying opinions of me, from me being the biggest sweetheart they've ever met to me being the biggest villain they've ever met. It depends on who it is. Depends on how they rubbed off on me. I've always treated people like they treat me. So that's just like the way I come off to you just 100% depends on how you act towards me. You'll either get the best of me or the worst. I could be two polar opposite people. Um, that's probably also why it's so easy for me to switch around from personality to personality. Because, like, I've just played so many roles in life as it is. This is actually the easiest role I've ever played because for once I'm not playing a role for anybody. Like, regardless of how much hate I get, I'm not playing the role. Show's done, you know? I spent my whole life playing a role and it didn't pay off for me anyway. Like, if anything, it only buried me deeper. And in the end, I got nothing but scars and bad stories out of it. Like, I mean, I got some good entertaining stories too, or some things that might even sound comical, but there's a lot of pain behind it too. That's why, like, I just knew at this point in my life I was ready for anything that coming out would have to bring my way because, like, I've just already been through so much. That's why it also makes it easy for me to help other people because there isn't too much that you could run by me that I couldn't relate on, like to some degree at least. And, I just try and take all the negative I've been through and channel it in a positive sense and help others from making similar mistakes or like help them through similar things because I definitely don't want to see other people have to be broken both physically and mentally in the ways that I have. I mean, God knows, like, had I not had so many people that loved me in my life, had I not been very lucky, um, I wouldn't be here right now. Really wouldn't. I should be dead 50 times over. And I do not say that figuratively. Like, I mean, literally dead as a doornail at least 50 times over. Not just from car accident and whatnot, not just from, almost overdosing on things. Like, there's been so many other situations. There was one time where somebody tried to shoot at me and the gun jammed on them. They had the thing pointed directly at me. This is way back in my teenage years, or actually maybe my early 20s, but still a long time ago. And, like, gun jammed on them. But the way that they had that thing pointed and the range they were at, it would have done some serious damage if it didn't kill me. Because it would have been like a chest or neck, possibly headshot. I don't know. I'm not too much into guns either. I've always been more of a knife person. Like, I'm really good at knife throwing, stuff like that, but I can count on one hand how many times I've fired a real gun in my entire life. Because, like, it's never been my thing. Just not into them. I look at it like it's too easy to hit the wrong target with a gun. Too dangerous, kind of thing. Like, um, I don't know. But that's just me. To each their own. If you're into guns, good for you. Use them correctly, use them responsibly, and, good for you. But me, I'm not big on them. I really just I think also so many shootings and stuff around here might have driven me away from liking them too. I mean, I'll never forget how me and my son, little Jason, we were sitting out on this porch, the at the place that I used to live, the place that he still lives at right now, is like in the middle of the slums, and this guy right up the street had his knees blown off by a sawn-off shotgun, and like we saw it. Like we were just sitting out on the porch. I was having a cigarette, and I was talking to him, and we just saw it happen. No more than 3 or 4 houses down. And this area was so bad that there was so many witnesses, but no one ever says nothing to the police because they don't want to be that one person that snitches, because then they're in equally as much danger. But yeah, I mean, it's all just, you know, some people become colder, harder people from being through a lot of shit. Me, if anything, it made me a better person. It made me really empathetic to others that experience hard times. Um, Definitely made me care more about what's good and what's bad in the world. So I'm thankful for the good and the bad that I've experienced personally. Because I would probably still be reckless had I not been through half of the stuff I've been through. I mean, there was a point in my life I didn't care about how many times I went to jail, how many times I hurt somebody else, how I hurt somebody else, or anything like that. I was just a mess at some points in my life. Usually, substances and stuff were involved to make me that type of person because substances, when you become an addict to anything, drugs, alcohol, whatever, like, it makes you into someone you're not. That wasn't who I was. Like, if you've ever been through addiction, you would know. It just makes you into someone you're not. And 99 times out of 100, it makes you into a worse person, one way or another. Like, you could be rich and able to afford the drugs and alcohol and everything. It's still going to mess up your brain, make you just not care at the level you should. Um, but yeah, I mean, I've definitely been all over the board about things I've talked about today, but I'm sure that makes up for any little bit of lost time in the last few days since I have last recorded. Damn. Uh, I guess I'm also just that bored, but I don't know. Hopefully, I'll think of something interesting to do in the near future. My birthday's in 2 days. Um, I don't think I'm doing anything special for it, but it is what it is. At this age, there's nothing special about having a birthday anyway. I'm pretty sure, like, at one point in your life, you just realize it's all downhill from here. You've already passed your prime. I could definitely say, like, I've lived my life, like, as far as having really good, crazy times in my youth. I didn't miss out on anything. Obviously, I've had enough experiences for 5 lifetimes, good and bad. Um, I'm actually surprised I don't look older than I do. Because when you see somebody like that looks really old for their age and you say that person's probably had a rough life. Well, I did have a rough life, and most people say I still look in my 20s. I don't know. I mean, I guess thank you, but I still, for some reason, feel like really insecure about myself. I still, I could have everyone in the world telling me I look great. I still have that sense of insecurity. I mean, they do link that to gender dysphoria in some ways, that you'll never be truly happy with yourself. Like, you see even these people that pass really great, that have had all the work that they need to have done, and they still say, like, oh, I want this done, I want that. And these people are like, what? Like, oh my god, you look better than most real females, like, and stuff. But they don't get it. Like, it's a matter of how you see yourself. Because if it was for other people, you'd be happy once everyone else is complimenting you. You'd be satisfied. You would feel like work done. No more left to do. But that's why I say it's not about other people. If it was, why even come out in the first place? You're doing everything for other people. You're really doing nothing but wasting your life. Because you're never going to satisfy anybody. And believe me, I can speak from experience. Too much experience of spending my life satisfying others, you know. Now I know that when I satisfy someone, at least it's authentic. When someone's happy with the person I am, at least it's real. And that's a better feeling than satisfying. Like, satisfying one person, having them feel happy with you for you, like, is better than having 100 people love you for somebody that you're not. And I could promise you that. So don't waste one more day of your life. If you have the option, do not waste one more day of your life being anything less than 100% who you want to be. As long as you're not hurting yourself or someone else, you do you. If you want to say you're a freaking alien, which I've actually seen on TV, go ahead. I think it's weird and all, but go ahead and do that. Because you're not hurting yourself, not hurting someone else. Go ahead. May not make too many friends, but live how you feel comfortable living. Because we only live once. We could all die today. I could be dead 5 minutes after I make this video from some crazy event happening. Especially with some of the health problems I've had over the last several months, which I never really get into, but like I've actually lost a lot of weight, not just from depression, but I've had some health issues going on that I've been going to the doctors about, and I really hope I won't need another surgery of some kind. But it might end up that way because I've definitely felt better back when I did need surgery. I just pray that I don't. But yeah, the point is, none of us are guaranteed today. None of us are guaranteed a long run in life, and you really shouldn't waste your time trying to make people happy that you don't even know. Even the people that you do know, if they truly love you, they'll love who you are as a person. They ain't gonna worry about your outward appearance and the way you present yourself. Otherwise, they don't love you enough. Like, there is no love like self love. And I know it may be lonely at times. I feel lonely all the freaking time. But there are ways to cope with it. We all have different ways. You know, as long as you choose a healthy way to cope with it, just you find a way. There's definitely multiple ways. Like me, it's therapeutic for me to talk to people on here that have similar issues that I can relate to help other people, to have other people help me, however it goes. I'm on a lot of support groups, on a lot of channels that are pertaining to these subjects and stuff. And it's very therapeutic to me because I don't have many people around here who can truly relate. And like I have other ways of coping too that are positive ways. That's just one of them. I could definitely make suggestions if anybody ever asks. But believe me, like, you know, there's nothing special about not being alone either. Because if someone, like, you can have, like, someone laying next to you in bed every night of your life. If it's not 100% real, even that's fake. Even that's gonna end. Like, what shouldn't end is you and your responsibility to love yourself. And believe me, it only gets worse. It'll grow inside of you like a cancer if you don't love yourself, if you don't give yourself the acknowledgement that you deserve just because you're afraid of other people's responses. And that's just my opinion because I've lived it for many, many years, for decades. I've lived it. And I put on a damn good show to everybody. You know how many people were shocked out of their mind when I came out as trans? Just not mad or nothing, just flat out shocked. You know, I used to be somebody that many men out there like feared, you know, because they'd see me get into my fights and stuff, and you know, and they didn't want to mess around with me. And I used to hang out with some of the scariest gangbanger types that you can imagine, be in situations that, you know, only the toughest people could be in. And here I am, just a matter of less than a decade later, dressing up like a female, presenting myself as a female and whatnot. So it blows their mind. I don't know why, because, you know, females can be dangerous too. I mean, apparently they don't know about all the women on TV that commit murder and things like that, or watch all the women wrestlers and boxers and UFC, you know. Like, there are many athletic and dangerous women out there too. It just takes them a little bit extra to work themselves up to being as strong. Because, like, men, it comes more naturally, I guess. I don't know. I don't know the science of it. Frankly, I just look at it like there isn't any, but n- neither gender is weaker or stronger. It depends on how much work you put into getting yourself trained or strong or whatever you want to be. It's all about determination. You you choose who you come out as. Like, don't let other people choose for you, because you'll end up in situations you never wanted to be in. I can promise you that from experience too. Because I was never the type to be some gangster or something. I'd never been a member of a gang. I just hung out with a lot of gangsters and stuff. When you're involved in the drug trade and stuff, and that type of lifestyle just tends to happen. And when you're constantly getting into fights with people, you're the type of person that gangbangers and whatnot want to like recruit because you're useful to them, you know. I was good at business and I was trustworthy, and at the same time I knew how to beat people's asses. And yeah, I mean, not saying that I was unbeatable, we all are, but I mean, they saw me, you know, they knew that I had a professional background element to it also, not just in the streets. That's the difference. Most of these people that fight in the ghetto, they're just doing things out of pure aggression. It's not really professional in any way, shape, or form, and there's a lot of technical ways to reverse any move that they make. Like, they may be fast, they may be strong, but if you're just doing things out of pure aggression and, you know, violence, usually if you're up against somebody that's actually trained, you ain't gonna get too far. But that's also just my opinion. Um, from personal experience. Everybody's got different experiences. Everybody's been through different things. I don't try and talk myself up like I'm the best at anything. I'm just saying what actually happened in my life, because I'm definitely a completely different person now than I was back then. But it doesn't mean that I forgot all them things either. That's why I try and use them experiences to deter other people from living that lifestyle. Never use training for a bad for a bad purpose, you know, only use it to defend yourself or someone you love. Like, usually that was the case for me, but I was a bit of a hothead at some like situations, and especially back when I was like drunk or high on something, forget about it. But yeah, I hope that somebody out there has experienced, I mean, has appreciated this long ass video that I made today. Um, definitely had a lot to talk about, I guess, because it's been quite a few days. Um, Definitely feels nice to be home. I know that my birthday's about to come up. I really ain't expecting much of anything. My circle is small. I'm not turning any special age. I'd be surprised if I got anything special whatsoever, but who doesn't love a day that's based specifically about them, right? I love it like it's an extra holiday. Um, but yeah, it's nice to have like know that a day is coming up where everyone's gonna be extra special nice to me. So, because like a lot of bad has happened lately, and I just need a lot of positivity right now. I need something good, you know. Like it's just one of them kind of weeks where I just really could use a little extra special like positivity and whatnot. Like I said, I'm facing some personal demons that I have to sort out, and it's not easy on me. And then just being back at home alone, and now the boys are gone back with their mother after I've had them for the last week. I'm just in a kind of down mood, you know. Hopefully things will get better. I'll be sure to leave updates. I'm sure y'all already know that one. But for now, I'm gonna end this video. Probably do another video on my birthday next. I don't know. Probably skip. Wait, what's today? Today's the second, I'm pretty sure. Third, something like that. Um, yeah, the third, barely, cause it's like 5 in the morning. But yeah. Um. Oh, so my birthday's tomorrow. Wow. I just realized that. Been messing up this whole time. Um. Yeah. So for now, I'll end this video and be sure to leave another one, I guess, tomorrow. For now, everybody, be safe. Be sure to love yourself above everyone else, but don't be selfish about it. And for now, peace out. Oh.